You're sitting at a red light at midnight, and out of nowhere, metal crashes into metal. Your neck snaps forward, your chest hits the seatbelt, and your brain completely scrambles. You stumble out of your truck into the freezing dark, and the guy who just hit you is already walking toward you, talking a mile a minute. You don't know what to say, what to do, or how to act. I want to walk you through exactly what happens in those critical first few minutes. We're going to count down the 5 most common things people do at a crash scene. We'll rank them from the absolute worst, most damaging mistake you can make, all the way down to the smartest, safest move. This isn't about being clever or outsmarting anyone. It's about not accidentally destroying your own legal rights when your adrenaline is pumping and you can't think straight. Now, keep in mind, this is education about how the system generally works, not specific legal advice for your exact situation. Laws change depending on where you live, and the details always matter. But knowing the mechanics of a crash scene can save your bank account later. Let's look at the worst thing first, and then we'll work our way down to the smartest move. The absolute worst mistake, our number 5 spot, is apologizing or taking the blame out loud. When you're standing in the road, shaking like a leaf, your first instinct as a decent human being is to say, "I'm so sorry, I didn't even see you," or "That was totally my fault." You're trying to be polite. You're trying to diffuse the tension. But in the legal world, you just handed the other guy a blank check. When you say you're sorry, the other driver's insurance company calls that an admission of fault. An admission is just a formal statement that you legally accept responsibility for the crash. Insurance adjusters are the people who decide who pays for the damages. They'll take your apology, write it down in their file, and use it to deny your claim. They'll say you already admitted you caused the wreck, so they don't owe you a dime for your busted bumper or your sore neck. Instead of apologizing, you just ask if they're okay. You say things like, "Are you hurt?" You can be a compassionate person without taking the legal blame for a split-second mistake. Let the police look at the physical evidence and figure out the fault. Don't do their job for them by apologizing in the dark. Moving down the ladder to our number 4 spot, the second worst thing you can do is refusing to call the police because the other driver wants to just handle it in cash. A lot of times, the guy who hits, you'll walk up, look at his crumpled fender, and say, "Look man, I don't have great insurance. Let's not involve the cops. I'll pay for your damage out of my own pocket." It sounds incredibly reasonable. It feels like the easiest path for everyone. But then you wake up the next day, your back is locked up, your truck won't drive, and the guy suddenly won't answer his phone. Without a police report, you've zero proof the crash even happened, let alone that he caused it. A police report is an official, neutral summary of the crash written by a responding officer. It lays out who was driving, who was insured, and what the physical damage looks like. Now, you might be wondering what happens if the police won't come out just for a minor fender bender. Some cities are stretched thin and won't send a cruiser for a parking lot scrape. If that happens, you still have options. In many places, you can go straight to the nearest precinct and file a counter report yourself. The exact rules for when police must respond vary by state, but you always want an official record of the date, the time, and the other guy's information. If you let him talk you out of it, you're trusting a total stranger to suddenly become an honest person just because he shook your hand. Dropping down to our number 3 spot, the middle-of-the-road mistake is getting tricked into recording a statement for the other guy's insurance company. Let's say you handled the first 2 things right. You didn't apologize, and you called the cops, but the very next morning, your phone rings. It's a friendly voice saying they're from the other driver's insurance company. You generally only give a formal statement to your own insurance company because your own company is supposed to be on your side. But you never, ever give one to the other guy's adjuster without talking to a lawyer first. A lawyer is someone licensed to practice law who can stand between you and the insurance company so you don't get tricked into giving up your rights. Sliding down to number 2, we have the second smartest thing you can do. This is making sure you gather the right evidence before you leave the scene. Once the police show up and the tow truck hauls your car away, the scene is gone forever. You can't go back and take pictures of it tomorrow. You have to do it right then and there while you're standing in the road. Evidence is simply the physical proof that shows exactly what happened. This includes taking photos of the skid marks on the pavement, the final resting positions of the cars, the broken glass on the yellow line, and the damage to both vehicles. You want to get a clear picture of the other guy's license plate, his driver's license, and his insurance card. But here's a pro tip. A lot of people forget to get the witnesses. If a pedestrian or another driver stops and says they saw the whole thing, get their name and phone number. They aren't legally required to stay, but if they leave, their testimony disappears. A witness is a third-party observer who has no financial interest in the crash. If the guy who hit you later lies and says you ran a red light, An independent witness is the only thing that can prove him wrong. Securing that evidence on your phone is the second smartest thing you can possibly do. Finally, the number one smartest move, the absolute best thing you can do at a car accident scene, is keeping your mouth shut about your medical condition. When the cop arrives, he's going to ask if you're hurt. When the paramedics get there, they're going to ask if you're hurt. Even your own insurance company will ask. The absolute worst thing you can say is, "I'm totally fine. I didn't get a scratch on me." You might feel completely fine in that exact moment. Your adrenaline is dumping into your bloodstream. That chemical cocktail masks pain entirely. You could have torn tissue in your knee or strained a disc in your lower back, and you won't feel it until you wake up the next morning completely paralyzed by the pain. Adrenaline is a hormone your body releases during high-stress moments like a crash. It ramps up your heart rate and acts like a temporary painkiller. Because of that, you can't accurately diagnose your own physical condition at the scene. If you tell the cop you aren't hurt, he writes, "No injuries" on his police report. 2 days later, when you're in the emergency room because your neck won't move, the insurance company will pull out that police report. They'll say you obviously weren't hurt because you told the officer you were fine. The smartest, safest phrase to use is, "I'm not sure yet. I need to get checked out by a doctor." You don't claim you're dying, but you absolutely don't claim you're perfectly healthy. You protect your own medical rights by acknowledging that a serious crash takes a toll on the body, and you need a professional to look you over before you make any sweeping declarations about your health. So, if you're standing in the dark looking at crumpled metal, remember the mechanics. Don't apologize and take the blame. Don't skip the police report. Don't get tricked by the other guy's insurance adjuster. Take pictures of everything and get witness numbers. And above all, never say you aren't hurt until a doctor actually clears you. These laws and rules shift slightly depending on your state, so if things get complicated, it's time to get a lawyer involved. If you had to do it all over again, what is the one piece of advice you wish someone had given you before you ever got into a car accident? Drop that down in the comments. If this breakdown gave you the actual playbook for protecting your neck and your wallet after a crash, pass this video along to a coworker who spends their whole day driving a truck between job sites. Make sure you subscribe to Scribble Law so you always know the actual rules of the game before a massive corporation tries to play games with your medical bills.